Hello, everyone. This is Gurumurthy Sitturaj. I'm a senior principal engineer in Optum, and I work for clinical enterprise clinical technology. Uh, Today, I'm going to walk through why we have chosen Hazura to implement our enterprise clinical platform, especially on the backend as a service layer. So let me walk through what is the original ask from our key stakeholders. From our business leadership, business and marketing leader team, they want time to the market and also to innovate and experiment. When they say innovate and experiment, they want to try out things and fail fast as well. And at the same time, they want to have a phased approach of deliveries. So those are the asks from our business and marketing team, especially wants an ask on how we can beat both extreme right and extreme left customers, where we have small customers, where we have bigger customers, where they need entire product, whereas small customers needs the cap few capabilities out of it. The leadership team ask is like, don't repeat for every line of business. How do we improve reuse across all line of business, and how do we make it as a federated model of deployment? And the delivery teams ask is like, how do I make my team autonomous? How do I have lean workforce? And how does uh, the release management and change management can be independent? We don't want to step on each other's. So that is the ask from our three key stakeholders. When we solution this, we try to find out how do we decompose the big monolith that we have in the enterprise clinical, and then try to find out what are the business capabilities, what are the domains. So we work with our SMEs, domain SMEs, and the business capability owners to define what is a capability that can be sold as is to a customer or as is to whether it's a small customer or a large customer, irrespective of it, how I can sell it as micro products. So that's where we landed into the world of micro products. We created a product suite. We defined like 20 plus micro products to serve our clinical needs. So once we defined the micro products, we were able to define what are the domains that it needs on the back end and what are the capabilities that it can be performed in a given micro product. So that is what is a micro product is all about. So once we identified definition of a micro product and their personas, what are the personas that the micro product can support, then we defined what are the domains that it needed. So this is our high level architecture of how how we are transforming our clinical landscape into the digital, in the digital era, how we are trying to do the digital transformation of the clinical landscape. So we are trying to build a platform where other teams can come and build apps on top of it. When I say apps, it's called micro products or products on top of it, and how it can be stitched together as a using micro front and how it can be stitched together and served as a main app for various client needs. So the bottom layer you are seeing, where it's called as a data service, is primarily a backend as a service layer, where uh, we expose data or any REST APIs as a GraphQL endpoint so that it can support multi-devices. The reason why we have chosen GraphQL over REST is primarily we want to reduce the number of versions we manage for each and every client needs, and also we want to avoid that. We want to support both overfetching and underfetching because uh, it is based on the client need. They might need additional elements in the response, whereas if it is a native device clients, they might need just only subset of the elements. They might not show the complete detail in a handheld device. Whereas in a web app, they might show the complete details of the patient that they are looking at it. So that is the main reason we chose GraphQL. And part of the GraphQL selection, we evaluated a couple of libraries and a couple of ready-made engines like Prosama, Apollo, and Hazura as well. So in that context, why we chosen Hazura, the reasons are in the coming up slides. But this is the high-level architecture. We use data as a service using Hazura, and then micro products using Angular and React, and custom business logics are used as Azure serverless functions, and then the pluggable product using single page app SPA libraries to stitch all the micro frontends and serve it as a main app. So these are the various work streams in our ecosystem. We do the data integration using Spring Cloud Stream and Kafka. And the backend services where we have heavily relied on GraphQL, exposing GraphQL APIs using Hasura. And then the business functions are written in custom business functions. And our HL7 wrappers are going to be implemented using serverless functions. And the front end is going to be Angular and React based, but we call it as micro front end because it can be embedded in a main app. So where we can collectively just embed it and sell it for various client needs. So this is what we are using the tech stacks. So Spring Cloud Stream is used for data integration, real-time data integration, and also reading the data from various sources and writing into the various things. So the reasons why we have chosen Cloud Stream is it gives a nicer abstraction. It can be Kafka, it can be Azure Event Hubs, or it can be Kinesis, or it can be Google Sub. There is a very nicer abstraction. You don't need to change your code for each and every middleware you move on. It gives a nicer abstraction. And then also declarative way of defining the channels and the binders. Those are the main reasons. And also test-driven development. Primarily, it supports test-driven development. You don't need to have the middleware to do your integration testing and all those things, because out of box, Spring Cloud Stream provides the test binder. And why we have chosen Hasura Graphical? This is the whole purpose of this the video. The reason being is primarily it enables us to just expose your data out of box. Once you have a data model, you can expose your GraphQL out of box without writing in a single piece of code. It's just very declarative way of doing things. And also you can expose your existing APIs as well. So those are the two main reasons we chose GraphQL. And the third main reason is the security, the access controls that it provides. It provides a very coarse-grained as well as fine-grained access. You can have both element level restrictions as well as row level, that is row level and cell level restrictions can be achieved using Hasura GraphQL. That's one of the nicest feature, and it's cloud native. It doesn't very specific to a cloud provider. It can be deployed on any cloud, or it can be deployed on-premise, and it enables. It doesn't need a huge team to develop GraphQL APIs. Very lean workforce and developer experience. So far the developer experience on using Hasura is really, really awesome. So the time to market. So those are the key factors that drove us to just choose Hasura over the others. And then the Azure functions. This is where we started using serverless, because we want to implement an architecture called immutable architecture. When we deploy something in the cloud, especially on the business logic and on the front ends, the look and feel and the personas, right? We want to make it as immutable. Once we deploy, we should not just go and change it again and again. If there is a change, it's going to be in another instance. So if we try to do it in a containerized environment, the containers are going to be ideal. So that is the reason we chose a serverless over a server-based architecture. The reason being is to support immutability and reduce the DevOps footprint. Primarily, it's cost-effective and also immutable. Immutability is really helping us to do A/B testing as well as blue-green kind of deployment, and also business wants a capability to be rolled out in a phased manner or in a persona-based manner. For a given persona, I can use version 1 of the serverless functions, or version 2 of the serverless functions, version 1.1, where I have some minor changes or major changes. We follow semantic version when we deploy our serverless functions and our micro frontends. So this micro frontend is nothing but the little bit elevation of what is a microservices. We just moved it to the front end layer also. So we have defined autonomous teams. So they build a micro product, they build a single page app specific to that capability that is a bounded context with it. They don't share context between other apps, but that capability can be sold as is as well. But it can be combined with multiple other capabilities and given it as a product suite as well. So that is the benefit of going like GraphQL, serverless, and this micro frontend. Using this, we are able to build a platform where it enables the teams to come and build micro products in a rapid manner. And we are trying to build the 20 plus micro products in the next 4 or 5 quarters. That's the plan that we have already in the roadmap. So that's all about why the enterprise clinical platform architecture, how we have used GraphQL, serverless, and micro frontends.